All right, so in today's video, we're going to talk about how much Republicans are in denial when it comes to Trump and his economic plans, because guess what? He has no plans, and right now they're looking dumb as hell trying to defend that. And then we're going to talk about Stephen A. Smith, the big mouth, who seems to know it all about politics, is now running from Roland Martin in his response. And now all of a sudden, Stephen A. Smith wants to claim he has no knowledge about politics, and that's a lame excuse. And then we're going to talk about Boebert. Yes, that walking idiot got demolished, smacked around by Piers Morgen. Out of all people, Piers Morgen. And you know, if you get smacked around by him, you have a problem. So let's get into it. All right, so we all heard that old saying, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And if you haven't heard that, go ahead, take that, get it as a tattoo, put it on your Facebook post. But that's a pretty simple understanding. If you don't have a plan, especially if you plan on being the president of the United States, the most powerful position in the world, arguably, if you don't have a plan for the American people and you're just trying to freestyle some things, then you're going to look stupid. And even more, if you're the person who voted for that person who doesn't have a plan, how dumb as hell do you look? You know what I'm saying? And throughout the whole entire campaign, you know, Trump's been campaigning for like almost 4 years here, and he still fails to put out a plan. Detailed plan. You know, the thing that people were crying and complaining about Harris from not having. Literally, Trump has no plan except for tariffs. And unfortunately, that is not a plan. And now what we're about to get into on the CNN panel is how these Trump supporters are trying to defend on Trump not having a plan and just winging it. And that is not a good plan if people are expecting him to do A, B, or C, or X, Y, and Z. So let's go ahead and get into this embarrassing conversation.
What Donald Trump said then and what he says now. Tonight, the president-elect says that he can't control what you pay at the supermarket. Here is the exchange from a new interview with Time magazine. Trump was asked this question: if prices of groceries don't come down, will your presidency be a failure? And here's how he responded, quote, "I don't think so. Look, they got them up. I'd like to bring them down. It's hard to bring things down once they're up. You know, it's very hard, but I think that they will." Now,
normally that would be a pretty on the fence response, because you're not saying I am going to bring them down. So you're over delivering, or you're over promising, or saying that you can't bring them down. So therefore you're under promising. But that's not what his campaign was based off of. Let's take a listen.
That is not nearly what he said on the campaign trail about the same issue.
We're going to get the energy down. We're going to get the food prices down. But prices will come down. You just watch. They'll come down, and they'll come down fast, not only with insurance, with everything. So vote Trump, and your incomes will soar. Your net worth will skyrocket. Your energy cost and grocery prices will come tumbling down. We will end inflation and make America affordable again. It's not affordable. Prices will come down dramatically and come down fast. Bacon is through the roof. They're all through the roof. The milk. Everything is bad, and we're going to straighten it out. We're going to bring prices way down, and we'll get it done fast. Together, we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, low energy costs, low interest rates, low inflation, so that everyone can afford groceries, a car, and a home. Common sense.
You can call it.
So before we get into like the more heated debate, which is at 2 minutes and 51 seconds. So one thing that I understand that a lot of Trump supporters weren't asking was, how are you going to do that? I think that's kind of important to ask, right? Instead of like, we're going to bring down inflation. We're going to make the economy great again. We're going to make jobs but how? Because it's cool that you're telling me that. But if you have some sort of intellectual motor skills, your first question, which we tell first graders, is how and why. And why you? But no, Trump supporters failed to do that because They want to talk about trans issues. They want to talk about immigration issues, which they don't even care about. That's a whole nother conversation. But now we're stuck with this individual and there's no money back. You can't replace. You can't go back on your vote. So now we're here. Let's take a listen.
It's bad. But he's now acknowledging that even now that he's going to be in the White House, those prices are probably not going to come down. He did not tell the American people that. And he falsely claimed that he could wave a magic wand and everything was just going to drop dramatically and people were going to be back in 2019 again.
Well, one of the things he focused on heavily in the campaign was energy. I do think he can bring energy prices down. I think there's a lot of executive branch and policy that he can implement, and will also work with the Congress to take the shackles off of American energy that would bring prices down. And energy is a huge input to all kinds of things that we buy and all kinds of manufacturing that we do. So I think that's one area where he can have a dramatic impact. I just also have to say, for everybody who's going to sit out here tonight and complain about the campaign rhetoric, it was the Democrats who denied that they had anything to do with inflation for 4 years and tried to tell everybody during the election that, hey, you're imagining things. Prices aren't really high. This is all in your imagination. And the American people soundly rejected that. I wouldn't mistake why Trump won the election. There was anger at Biden and Harris for their policies that caused inflation. And of course, Trump is saying, I would like to bring prices down during the election. But the real anger in the election.
So to shut him up, because I wish I was on that panel, this conversation will be done in minutes. First off, Trump didn't say, I'm going to try. He said, I'm going to do. Once again, your words mean something. If you can't promise something, then don't promise something. That easy. If you understood how economics works and how so many small things kind of work together to accumulate gas prices, to accumulate grocery prices, it's not just a big red button you can hit that has a down arrow and all you got to do is just push it. That's not how that works. There's a bunch of mechanics that make up these prices, that make up inflation. So if you don't understand that, don't promise something. That easy. And if you have to use the excuse, well, the Democrats, when it's your candidate, your party who made these promises, and now all of a sudden it seems like he can't deliver those promises, you can't use but the Democrats excuse. That's a lame excuse. And CNN this is the reason why they're failing. You can at least bring a individual who can articulate a decent argument for the Republican side. But just bringing a douchebag just to bring a douchebag is just a douchebag move. You can't do that. You're not giving your audience anything to work with, you know? And now we're in the comments, people are just frustrated because it's just an idiot talking. And when you're having a conversation based off of idiocy, you get nothing from it. It's just junk food at that point. No protein, no carbs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a waste of time.
Was and will remain with the administration that oversaw the huge inflation in the first place.
Except that all of the things that Trump is promising now in his economic agenda will make inflation worse.
Cheaper energy?
First
of
all,
it worse?
Oil production is at an all-time high. We are producing more oil per day in this country than any country has in history.
I think energy producers would tell you the government is put a boot on its
Trump's own donors in the fossil fuel industry.
About that we are producing more oil now than even when Trump was in office.
Well, it's more.
That's a fact.
It's about more than just oil production. There's all sorts of refining capacity,
we're producing
pipeline
record
capacity.
high levels of natural gas.
Look,
we're producing
I know your favorite pastime is to come out here and talk over me, but just please.
I care about the facts. I care about the facts.
The reality is, if you talk to anybody in the energy business, if you talk to anybody,
he says things that are wrong. And I interrupt him and correct him because our job is to inform our audience.
I'll just wait.
Hang on 1 second.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Finish
No.
your point.
Look, I play this game every time we come out here. The legitimate answer is he's going to do stuff on energy. He's going to take regulatory shackles off of the energy producers. If you talk to anybody in the energy business who produces, refines, deals with pipelines, this administration, Democrats in Congress, have put shackles on what they can do.
Why is energy production at a record high?
If you take the shackles off, the prices will go down.
No,
it should help.
I guess what I'm wondering is why won't you answer the point that she's making, which is that if it's so bad, why is energy production
I didn't dispute it.
Higher than it was under Trump? And on top of that, Trump was asked a very simple question. If you promised the American people that you'd bring prices down and then you failed to do that, is that not a problem? Is that something that the American people will judge him on?
If he brings energy prices down, and if he extends the tax cuts, and he generally implements an economic climate in which incomes can rise and certain things do come down, and he tells the American people the truth about what he's doing the entire time, I think politically it will be okay.
Again,
Okay, that is not an answer. You're just telling us what he would like to do. But once again, I've never been in a governmental position, but I could just imagine it's not that easy. If you can just make prices go down, make energy production go down. Let's just all live in a world where there's no racism. You can easily say it, but I want to know from him, from his administration, how? HOW, how are you going to do that? That's the key thing. People gave shit to Harris on how she's going to deliver all her economic plans, and she actually, in detail, put that. And once again, I'm going to say it a million times. I read it 3 times over. It was 9 pages and it was boring, but she had something you can argue with. Trump doesn't have that. It's just bring energy prices down or whatever. How are you going to do that? Is it going to cost money? What red tape are you going to cut? Is that going to affect the American people somehow if you're cutting regulations in any way, shape, or form? How is the question.
We started with groceries.
Yeah, I was going to say, there are other things at play here, too, which is real wage growth under the first Trump administration was the best we'd seen in 50 years. And so he has a track record and he knows the playbook and he can play that again. Working families did better even than higher income families did under the first Trump administration, and they will again under the second Trump administration. So that's one. And then when you zoom out, $1 trillion worth of goods have been held up by the Houthis moving through the Red Sea and through the Suez Canal. That will stop about 12:01 on January 20th. That nonsense of the Houthis holding up global traffic. The president talked about it in that same statement, which I don't think your team cut the rest of it. He talked about the supply chain issues, and supply chain issues are a real issue.
All right,
let's can
we level set just for a moment? All right, Donald Trump lied. That's first, and let's just articulate exactly.
That is not true.
About what?
That is absolutely true.
Let me just clearly state what he lied about, just so we're on the same page.
Fair.
All right, during the campaign, Donald Trump said that he was going to bring prices down. Today, he simply said, you know what? Those prices, particularly grocery prices, are not going to come down. I don't know if you have children, but if you do, if your children tell you if they tell you one thing on one day and then they come back and tell you that's not what's going to happen, that is considered a lie. That's first. The second.
So it's weird, and you can say what you want about Bakari. I know he's more centrist, more liberal than a lot of my subscribers, but hey, you can't argue that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Trump lied. And it's weird that you got to talk to grown-ass men as if they're children and using childlike examples. When your kids tell you one thing and then turn around and tell you something else, that's called a lie. It's weird that you got to explain that to grown folks. But unfortunately, in 2024, 2025, that's where we're at. We have to explain things down to its basic form, like I'm talking to a 5-year-old. And unfortunately, it feels like some 5-year-olds might have a better grasp on reality than some of these people here. Oh, man.
The thing is, just from a very, very 50,000-foot view, one of the things we know is Scott was actually 50% correct. And that Democrats did not do a good job in telling our story. We did not do a good job of addressing the pain that Americans felt. We said one of the mistakes we made throughout Biden's campaign was saying, Biden's presidency was saying that inflation was transitory. Like, those things were not accurate because there are people who were out there feeling the pain of the price of eggs, feeling the pain of the price of whiting, like my dad at Piggly Wiggly. Those things were real. What Scott was not accurate about, which kind of happens around the table sometimes, although I know you want to be.
Don't touch me.
I can't touch it.
All right, everybody keep your hands to yourself.
Damn. Oh boy, now wants to be ass hurt. He wants to be butt hurt because he's being fact checked on every single stupid statement coming out of his mouth. Now he just wants, don't touch me. Don't. Hey, why are you taking it personally? if you are taking a position to defending a literal idiot. That is your fault, my friend. No one told you you had to defend a walking dumbass. No. But no, you chose to do that. So whatever criticism or whatever fact-checking people are bringing to your doorstep, you have to answer it or look like a dummy. And that's literally what he's about to do. Watch.
All right, but one of the things Scott was not accurate about, there was a reason why we have inflation in the first place. This is not Joe Biden's policy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
This is. It's sure actually, it is. Of course, it's actually no. Of course, it's not.
Putting
because
$2
you know
trillion
what?
in the.
Do you know what? Do you know why did we put
government spending on top of?
Okay, and once again, they're just gonna go back and forth. This was Joe Biden. Blah blah blah. Hey, Joe Biden's policies, and once again, I'm no Joe Biden fan, but I understand that he is 10 million times better than any Republican has to offer, hands down. Like that's not even an argument here. But Joe Biden, statistically, if you look at his legislation, that most of them were bipartisan, so he actually had to negotiate with Republicans, actually helped the economy. Now, once again, by incremental, baby steps, which is better than nothing, I guess, once again. And it wasn't progressive enough, but he did something. And that's literally why, statistically, inflation and everything else is going down how it's supposed to. And things like energy production is going up. Oil production is going up. Statistically, you can't argue that. But once again, it is too late. We can't return Trump back for our money, for our vote. That's not how that works in a democracy. Democrats are not saying the election was stolen, unlike some individuals on the right. But now we're in the phase of FOFA or FAFO, F around and find out. And unfortunately, a part of me doesn't want to F around to find out, because I live in America just like you, even though I didn't vote for him. It's going to affect me negatively, just like it's going to affect you negatively. But there's a part in my heart, okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I want people who voted for him to F around and find out, because I need them to understand your vote has consequences. And if you elect an incompetent idiot to run the country, then you're going to get an incompetent idiot policies that will affect your life in a negative way. And that's real. This is real life we're doing. This ain't a video game. I'm sorry. But once again, if you guys agree or disagree with anything I said in this segment, let me know in the comments down below. So now we have Stephen A. Smith. Once again, I admired him to a certain extent before, like 6, 7, 8 months ago, because when he would talk about politics, it seemed like it would come from an honest, neutral-ish space. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a Stephen A. Smith. I didn't know him 5 years, 10 years ago, so don't crucify me in the comments. But hearing him only on politics was like a neutral, try hard to ride on the fence. And sometimes you can get some valuable information from that. But it seems like when the Democrats lost, he just went further leaning right. And it's not something I'm just making up in my mind. And when he decided to speak out on the January 6th report that came out a few days ago, he took Republican talking points. And, seeing here talking about, oh, now, you're showing that Trump and his excuses about things being rigged and the deep state being against them is all starting to look like he wasn't lying. When you start taking a position of right-wing talking points, people are going to judge you by those talking points. It's that simple. But now, all of a sudden, Stephen A. Smith is running like a coward. And I called him a coward months ago. Now since Roland Martin checked him, which he should, now he's, all of a sudden, this is not my lane. I'm not fully informed, so you can't. Let's go ahead and take a watch. Right? Don't take my word for it. Let's take a listen.
That is what Roland Martin is responding to. That is what he is saying. He doesn't understand what the hell I'm talking about and what I'm saying when he brings that up. First of all, let me say this about Roland Martin. Not hangout buddies or anything like that, but we are friends. He's a guest on this show anytime I ask him to. I respect his knowledge, and he is absolutely right. This is his lane, not mine. Sports is my thing. This is what he does. I get that. But I am allowed to be an expert on what the hell comes out of my mouth.
Oh, so that's just a fancy way, you know, because he doesn't want to take accountability, or that's just his way of saying, but I can't have my own truths in my own opinion. Yes, that is true, Stephen A. Smith. But if you're going to tango in this thing we call politics, you got to be informed. No one is telling you to talk about politics 24/7 on your own podcast. If you feel like you're not up to par or have the enough information to make an accurate analysis on whatever the topic is, if you feel like you're not up to that level, then hey, do not talk about it. If you don't have 10, 15, 20 minutes to look this information up, then don't talk about it. If you don't have the ability to listen with your ear holes, the things on the side of your big ass head, if you don't have the patience and the understanding to listen to other people who may know what they're talking about and is credible historically on what they're talking about, then do not talk about it. That's simple. But no, you want to take the easy road because reading and listening to information, that takes a lot of time and energy. But it's easy to be a right-wing dumbass, an idiot, because you don't have to read nothing. You don't have to look up information. All you got to do is say, oh, blah, 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 Democrats. That's all you got to say. But, okay, let's continue. We are not done.
And what I believe I said. And that is why I clap back respectfully at my man Roland Martin, not his panelists chirping and mimicking and laughing and giggling in the sideline like anybody know who the hell they are.
Because his panelists ish on Stephen A. Smith. They hold no punches. They weren't wearing baby gloves like you're used to when you're on Sean Hannity, where they barely challenge you on anything. So yeah, that's why you want to sit here and disrespect this panel, is because they let you know how it is in this arena. You better come right or don't come at all, pimpin'. That easy.
I ain't talking about them. That's a waste of my time. I'm talking about my brother Roland Martin here. When you say you don't understand or you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and you have a panel to piggyback and parrot every syllable you uttered, well, why are you doing it if you didn't understand what I'm talking about? Why am I getting attacked if you don't comprehend or understand what I was saying?
Okay, first off, Roland Martin didn't say he doesn't literally understand what you're talking about. He's saying, and you understand it, Stephen A. Smith, all that, you understand, okay? He's saying he doesn't understand how you came to the conclusion that you did after, quote unquote, reading the January 6th report and understanding what was said in there. And once again, I didn't read the whole thing. It's like 80 something pages. I only read the part where it really talks about what we're discussing. And it's nothing compared to what Republicans are flipping it to be. But you just took the easy road and took their talking points without you really reading it. So Martin is asking, how did you come up with the conclusion? Because I don't understand how you did. That's what he's saying he doesn't understand. Hey, Stephen A. Smith, give me a call, hire me. I will assist you on not looking like a dumbass on TV, okay? Help me help you, brother.
If it's convoluted, why not ask me to come on and clarify? Why not talk to me and say, what exactly is it that you're trying to say? That is not what Roland Martin did, ladies and gentlemen. What he did instead was marry my thoughts to these extreme conspiracy theories that the MAGA right might have put out there about the FBI having some pivotal role in what transpired on January 6th, 2021. That's what he was doing. Look at this right here. Look at this report from the DOJ. It reads, confusion and lack of coordination contributed to the FBI's inaccurate report to Congress that had canvassed field offices. After January 6th, the FBI reported to Congress that it had directed its field officers prior to January 6th to canvass their CHSS-4 information concerning threats in connection with the January 6th electoral certification. However, as noted, we found that no canvassing of field officers for source information had occurred. We found that the FBI statements to Congress were not intentionally inaccurate, and that confusion and lack of coordinated communications contributed to the inaccurate reporting. Why do I bring that up? It doesn't convict the FBI.
Oh, that's the whole point, though. I read it in my yesterday's video. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go ahead, click that video, take a listen. I broke it down like a science for you guys, and I ask you guys to just Google it and read it yourself. It's page 83 or 84 or 85 down to page 87. It's not too long of a read. Read it, okay? But that's what Republicans are hinting at, is that these undercover agents or these people who are snitch, I forget the word, but these individuals that are there to snitch on whoever, they incited the insurrection. They started it. And furthermore, the FBI told them to, instructed them to incite this insurrection. That's what Republican conspiracy theorists are trying to get out there. But the report says nothing close to that. It was just, if anything, sloppy communication between the individuals involved. Just poor communication, which, okay, sure, I guess. But what I want to know is, did the FBI call these dudes and say, hey, I need y'all to start some trouble? Oh, it didn't? Then why are we talking about this, Stephen A? Maybe you should have checked your sources or your information before you kind of hinted that was the case. Pimpin'.
Doesn't authenticate or validate assertions from the MAGA right that somehow the FBI was corrupt and they manipulated the proceedings to, invoke or provoke violence at the U.S. Capitol that ultimately will be blamed on Donald Trump. That's not what I was saying.
What are you saying?
What I was saying is, why the hell are we hearing about this now? What took the report so damn long? How come we didn't hear about this before the election? And is it possible that the reason why we didn't hear about it before the election is because folks on the left wanted to marry January 6th completely and totally and utterly to Donald Trump?
Because it is. Just because we didn't get a report that talked about the failing of their communications to monitor certain individuals came out after the election, who cares? Honestly, people don't care. But that's not what you said in your segment. And once again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the video I posted yesterday. It needs some views, okay? But that's not what you said. You hinted, and you even shared JD Vance's poster talking about, oh, the conspiracy theories were right on this one. You shared that and trying to hint like the FBI did incite or played a part in this insurrection that happened in 2021. So Stephen A. Smith, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm sorry, but you can't weasel your way out of this one. Once again, if you can't get your weight up in the gym, then get out the gym. Put the weights down and deal with some weights that you can manage. But once again, if you ain't got the muscle, don't complain. You know what I'm saying? A great philosopher back in my day, I'm not too old, I'm 37 years old, but a great philosopher, you guys might know him, Little John and the East Side Boys once said, and I quote, "Don't start none, won't be none." That's simple. Don't get into lanes that you're not comfortable driving. If you can't go 75, 85 miles an hour with your rink-a-dink car, then maybe stay off the highway, okay? That's simple. Stephen A. Smith, hey, talk about sports all you want. That's not my lane. I don't care about sports. Do that. But when you talk about politics, get your weight up, boy. You know what I'm saying? But once again, if you guys disagree or agree with anything I said in this segment, let me know in the comments down below. So it must be raining cats and dogs outside. You know what I'm saying? It must literally be a miracle Christmas about to happen in the next few days, because Piers Morgan in this segment showed signs of life. It is crazy. And I'm never going to take back my words and say Piers is a POS. You know, I'm going to try to cut down my cussing because I don't want YouTube to demonetize my videos. But Piers Morgan is still a POS by far. But just like a broken clock, it is right twice a day. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to fact checking or challenging Republican idiots is an easy thing. Like you want to get into politics, learn their talking points, figure out the facts in the historical context, and you can shut them down 9 times out of 10. It is easy because they don't read, they don't write, they don't comprehend nothing. They just talk. They just look pretty and talk. That's all they can do. And when it comes to Lauren Boebert, which, my God, I think she's out of Colorado, which is embarrassing. Trust me. I'm sorry, guys. You know, that's embarrassing for me. But when it comes to talking with her about policies and anything that has to do with government, she is an idiot. And Piers Morgan, out of all the right-wing talking points that he loves to put his reputation on, he seems to do a pretty good job shutting down Lauren Boebert and the dumb shit she is always talking about. Don't take my word. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Okay, let's find something where I disagree with you passionately about to end on, because it's all been way too chummy so far.
We're starting to be friends here. We better fix this.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I know it's Christmas. So we've got the inauguration coming. President Zelensky from Ukraine is apparently going to attend. You were, along with Matt Gaetz, 2 of the Congress people who refused to stand or applaud when Zelensky addressed Congress. Would you have applauded or stood up for Vladimir Putin if he'd been speaking?
So I do believe that I did stand when he entered, but there were many things that he said that I absolutely did not stand for. On the contrary, there have been things that I've stood and applauded Joe Biden for. And so it just depends on the topic there. But was I going to jump up and down for joy as Zelensky is walking into the United States House of Representatives in a sweatshirt and just awaiting for his next check to be signed by Joe Biden? We've sent over $200 billion, or right around $200 billion, and Joe Biden is still wanting to send more money to Ukraine with no plan.
So my question is, did she stand and cheer and respect Benjamin Netanyahu when he came to Washington? I mean, he's sucking us dry, like literally for years. You know what I'm saying? Like we already know AIPAC and Israel is paying politicians, buying our elections. We know that for a fact. So was she standing and cheering for that when we're paying for their free healthcare, when we're paying for their economy, when we're paying for their military? Oh no, but of course not, because we have double standards here. And we can't stand on business here in America. Okay, got you.
In this war, with no end in sight until President Trump won this election. And so, no, I was not very excited that he was there to beg us for more of our tax dollars.
I don't think you could hammer a guy who's a wartime president for wearing wartime fatigues. I mean, he's going straight back literally to war.
I don't think a pullover sweatshirt is wartime attire.
Well,
he wasn't in a flak jacket. He was in a sweatshirt.
I don't think it really matters whether he's in a suit or not. Here's what my point.
So we're really gonna argue about what he wore. You didn't want to stand or applaud or because he wore. His country is literally being bombed and his people are literally being killed because of Putin wants to just take some land that he thinks, or for whatever reason thinks is his. Really? That's where you want to hang your hat on. Okay, got you. Just like a Republican, huh? Okay.
Here's my point to you, Lauren, is this. Whenever I hear, and there's a large number of Republicans that say the same sort of stuff, and I'm always like, it's such a weird thing to hear, because like 30 years ago, it would have been unthinkable for any Republicans to go on the record basically looking like they're siding with Putin against a sovereign democratic European country that Putin had invaded. The idea that you would be effectively saying, well, give the Russian dictator what he wants, I would have thought would have been unthinkable. So why do you guys seem so relaxed about the idea of a Russian dictator marauding around Europe, helping himself to land that isn't his?
Well, Putin's asking us for a heck of a lot less money than Zelensky is. And
what price
it's really
freedom?
Not siding.
What price freedom?
What about our freedom here? That has been my number one argument.
Once again, that's not an argument. Just like there are excuses where, they come up with all these reasons that they need to send billions of dollars to Israel to, one, protect them. And then two, we have so many shared interests when it comes to the Middle East. It's not just Israel, it's these ports and this and this. Okay, but we don't have those same interests in helping our allies when it comes to Ukraine? No? Oh, okay. Once again, double standards. We can't stand on business. Okay, got you.
America first. We have our own invasion taking place now, not only at the southern border and the northern border, but also in
That's a different issue.
Air,
you can do two
airways.
things at once. You're the United States.
No, absolutely not. If we do not secure our country, there will not be an America to stand for our allies. I've even.
But I don't disagree with you about that. Hang on. On that, I agree with you about the southern border, but that's nothing to do with Ukraine. I'm just.
It has everything to do with it.
I'm just curious why you would be so relaxed about Putin possibly winning that war. Why would you not want to repel him with every fiber of your being?
When this first started, I was in support of us helping Ukraine. But then when I saw that there was no accountability for the tax dollars that we were sending over there, that there was no plan to end this war, that we were literally funding both sides of the war through bad energy.
Once again, we're doing the same thing with Israel, killing hundreds of thousands of Palestinian people. And I just listened to a video with Mark Lamont Hill, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be talking about this tomorrow, on how Gaza is literally no more. It is 0% of life there. They have no structure, buildings, everything is leveled. Gaza is gone, done with. And they're not finished. Israel's not finished. And this is a year and a half later. So you tell me, when is the war over when it comes to Israel and the Palestinian people? I don't know. Trump is just going to get into office and send millions of billions of more to Israel. What about that? I don't know. I haven't seen every Boebert interview, but if I'm wrong, show me in the comments. But I'm pretty sure I don't hear her talking about we need to stop funding Israel in their war. No, don't think so. Wrong. I doubt it.
Policies that Joe Biden had declared an all-out war on our energy production. He was draining our petroleum reserves, our emergency strategic petroleum reserves, in the name of a midterm election. And we were continuing to just shell out billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine without taking care of our people who were unable to afford groceries or fuel, and were encountering this invasion at our southern border. Every state has become a border state. Colorado has been negatively impacted. Crime has gone up. Our police are being defunded.
No. First off, our police department has not been defunded. I done talked about this plenty of times in the past 2 years. 1. 2, crime rate has not gone up dramatically. And I don't think statistically has gone up in Colorado in the past 4 or 8 years. So, Boebert, I live here. I live in Aurora, where you're talking about. You don't even represent Aurora, but that's a whole nother conversation. So what are you talking about? You are lying. Stop all the bullshit, please. Hey, come on. It doesn't have to work like that, but let's let her continue.
To care for illegal aliens.
Yeah, but
I'm done with it. I'm done with all of these wars.
Yeah, but hang on, America can afford to do both things at once.
Yes.
I don't see there's any connection.
Can we?
Of course I can.
Wait, where's our money? We are literally.
You are literally the richest superpower in the world.
We are literally spending Chinese money to do this. We are borrowing money from China to send to Ukraine and other countries.
Okay, so what is your solution? Is your solution that you just give Putin what he's stolen?
No, my solution is peace through strength. And that's exactly what President Trump.
Okay, once again, she's just going to keep repeating that. She's not going to give an answer. Of course, she's not going to give an answer, but she made a good point. Where is all this money? If we can't walk and chew gum as the most powerful, richest country on earth, if we can't walk and chew gum, then my question is, yeah, where is all of our money going? Let me see. When Trump was in office, he gave nearly $700 billion to military spending, and supposedly he's the president of starting no wars. Well, why are we sending that much money to our military complex machine? Why? Okay, when it comes to tax cut, which put our deficit 36% higher when it comes to these tax cuts to CEOs and millionaires and billionaires. Why did we do that? If you're so concerned about government spending, maybe, hey, this is a crazy idea, okay? Take notes. I know this might, hey, hear me out. Maybe check your own party. Before you start asking these crazy abstract questions, check your own party first. Then you might come to some conclusions that might put you on this side. I don't know. Hey, crazy thought. But of course, guys, if you guys disagree or agree with anything I said in this segment or in this entire video, one, I appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comments down below. If you watch this entire video, I want to give you a virtual hug. Okay, come here. Thank you. But once again, guys, let me know how you guys feel in the comments down below, or hit that Discord link down below so me and you can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.